Hi guys, I am back today with another DIY. Today I'm going to talk about whether or not you can paint over water stains on a ceiling. So I have everything that you need to know before you start painting, and I even have a tip for you that might help you avoid painting at all. Before you can paint over a water stain, you need to identify the source of the problem. So these stains on this ceiling were caused by a mistake during an HVAC install. So our furnace or heat pump was right above this. It caused a lot of damage, the mistake that was made. I was able to get rid of most of the water stains that were on that ceiling with just a bleach and water mixture. I have another video all about how I do that. After you fix the cause of that leak, you do have to wait for the water damage or the water stained area to completely dry out before you can start telling whether or not you have any structural damage or if you're just ready to paint. If you just have a little hairline crack in the water damage like I have in this example, you can fix that with just a little bit of spackling on your finger. Let that dry and then you're ready to start painting. If you have large areas of water damage in your drywall that needs to be replaced, I have another video with 15 beginner tips for how to do drywall. Check that out to see if that's a project that you're ready to get started on. Once your drywall is ready for paint, you're going to need to start with a good stain blocking primer. So you need to pick a primer that is equipped for the hardest stains: rust, oils, mold, mildew, dark stains on your drywall, graffiti. You want a really strong stain blocking primer. So I went with this Zinsser 123 Plus primer. This is a water-based primer, so it's going to have easier cleanup than an oil-based primer. And it's also going to have low or no VOCs. I'll put 3 good water-based primers into the description of the video below. Those are water-based primers that can actually cover over dark stains, rust, oils, minerals, other substances that might be in your water damage. Not all water-based primers are going to be tough enough though to cover over water damage. So make sure you check out that list. And if you have super dark stains on your walls or substances in that water stain that you think are going to be too tough for a water-based primer, I also highly recommend Zinsser Cover Stain. So that's an oil-based primer that is great at covering stains and even strong odors in a home. And Zinsser BIN shellac-based primer. So a lot of people call it Zinsser BIN shellac-based primer. While my partner climbs the ladder here, I'm going to tell you guys another important thing that a lot of people don't seem to know about primers, and it's that they're not as pigmented as the top coat, as your normal paint is. So they're a bit see-through. So a primer can completely seal and block a water stain without completely hiding it. Your top coat is going to have all of the pigments in it that you need to hide that water stain. The primer just needs to seal it. If you read the reviews on a site like Amazon for primers, you'll often see a comment from somebody saying, I've used this primer, 3 coats of this primer, and I can still see whatever it is they're trying to cover it up. And it's not because the primer is really failing, it's because they just don't realize that the top coat is the one that has all of the pigments in it that you have to use to cover up a stain completely. So just keep that in mind. You need to use 1 or 2 coats of primer, but it might not hide your stain completely. So when I painted over this water stain on my ceiling, I only put the primer on the water stain itself, and then I did the top coat across the whole ceiling. I generally go for top coats that have a built-in primer in them already. This ceiling is in good condition other than that one stain that had a bit of a propane leak in it. So I knew I could get away with just priming the stain itself and then doing top coat over across the whole ceiling and be done with it. Now I want to show you what this ceiling looked like halfway through painting it. So I've got half of the top coat done on the ceiling. And I want to just point out that I'm using an eggshell sheen on this ceiling. So I know a lot of people are used to using flat, which is what you see on the right side of the ceiling. But I like eggshell these days because it reflects light so much better in a room. And it actually makes the ceiling feel higher and the room feel lighter and brighter. So I've got another video showing multiple examples in my house of where I'm using eggshell sheen. Check that out if you want to see more of it. And here's the ceiling 3 weeks after I did the primer and the paint. So obviously the oil stain that was in that corner hasn't leaked through. That primer worked its magic and completely sealed off that propane in that drywall. I used Behr's Premium Plus on this ceiling. But there are so many great top coats on the market, you don't really need a recommendation for that. Just pick one of the medium to higher range paints and you'll be fine. I prefer water-based again on these because they're so much easier to clean up after and you don't get the strong fumes. That's it for how to paint over water stains on a ceiling, guys. Good luck with your project and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below.